The constant sounds of doors opening and closing, people moaning, loved ones crying, machines beeping, codes being called out over the intercom. The crisp sheets, soft pillows, cold nurses, paramedics. Sick using these descriptions, and often hospitals bring on feelings of stress and anxiety for patients, visitors, and even workers. Hi, my name is Kendall Bohne, and I worked in university and Methodist hospitals last summer as an intern. On my first day at University Hospital, I was nervous and not sure what to expect. But after meeting at the end of my first day, I needed to find my way back to my truck in the parking garage, but I was not sure where the parking garage was, nor what floor and row I had parked on. I walked for about 15 minutes looking for it before asking a doctor where the parking garage was. He proceeded to tell me that I was in an entirely different hospital than university and gave me directions back to my parking garage. Although I was embarrassed by my experiences the first day, I overcame my fears and grew more confident. Working in hospitals this summer taught me how important it is to not judge people by their circumstances, but instead we should be thankful for our own blessings from God when we see other people's struggles in life. During my first week at Methodist Hospital, I had an eye-opening experience when I was asked to take a newborn baby into her mother's room. As I pushed the baby in her bassinet down the hallway towards the room, I saw a group of young teenagers standing outside the hospital room. When I entered the room, I realized the mother of the baby was a beautiful 14-year-old girl. I began to imagine the struggles the young girl and her family faced. As I thought about the unfortunate situation, I felt sorry for the family as everything in their world had just shifted. The girl was choosing to keep the baby, and everyone in the family was going to have to make sacrifices for this little one. I respected this young girl for having the baby instead of ending the life. However, I wondered if adoption would have been a better option to give the newborn the best chance to grow up in a successful and nurturing home with mature and financially responsible parents who could care for the young life. The young lady's mother and grandmother were taking pictures of the newborn while the young mother's father was in the corner, crying. I asked him if there was anything I could do for him. He looked up at me and asked me to pray for his family. When he said that, I realized we will all be faced with difficulties in life and unexpected circumstances. But we need to respond by making the best of it and having trust that God will take care of us. We will all be faced with trials along the way that test our faith, but having strong relationships with God, family, and friends will help us get through any difficult situation. Shortly after my experience with the teen mom, I was at University Hospital working with the dietitian, Jared, when we were asked to check on a young mother and her one-day-old infant. As we entered the room, neither of us expecting to see the young lady handcuffed to her bed with the police officer sitting in the windowsill, I looked at Jared and could tell that we were both caught off guard. We attempted to act normally. As she started to talk about her past, we quickly realized that this young girl in her early 20s grew up living a rough life. She was visibly malnourished because she could not afford to buy nutritious foods while also paying her medical bills. She was arrested shortly after becoming pregnant, and she explained to us that she received better food, shelter, and care in the prison than when she was on her own. From a young age, she struggled with various addictions. She told us about how she regretted her past and knew it was time for her to change. The pregnancy and thought of a baby changed her outlook and may have even changed her life, because now she had a reason to strive to be a better person and a good mother. After talking with her, both Jared and I realized that she faced many struggles and had made bad decisions along the way, but deep down, she cared about changing her ways and doing the best she could for this newborn. About a week after working with the inmate at University Hospital, I was with Jared again, but this time on the transplant floor. We went to visit an elderly lady who was refusing to eat. When we arrived at her room, it was obvious that she was in the hospital not because of her liver transplant 7 years before, but because she was not eating the foods that she needed to give her body the energy and ability to function correctly. As we talked to her, she explained that she was too depressed to eat. Her husband had committed suicide right before she received her organ transplant 7 years prior. The medication she was on to support her liver transplant, combined with her emotions, drove her to plan to kill her daughter. When she told her daughter that she needed help, the daughter fled and never returned. The mother was so depressed about her lack of family and friends that she just stopped eating anything other than cookies and Boost, a supplemental drink. And eventually, she became very sick. She struggled with addictions throughout her life and was still a recovering alcoholic when we talked to her. Taking the time to talk to this lady changed her attitude. As we readied to leave, she asked us to order her food and thanked us for our time and for caring about her. This situation helped me realize that although people may seem crazy, just a little time, love, and support can help them feel better. On my last day, working at Methodist Children's Hospital, I was asked to take a young boy out to his car in a wheelchair. When I arrived at the room and walked in, I saw a young man, about 16 years old, his single mother, and his older sister. As I pushed him to the parking lot, we began to talk. His father had been killed in a car accident the previous year, shortly before he was diagnosed with brain cancer. He had been fighting for his life while his mother and sister were desperately trying to make enough money to pay for the house, food, and his medical bills. As he was getting into the car, I wished him the best of luck and told him that he would be in my prayers. He turned around and said, "Thank you so much. I wish I had met you when I was first put in the hospital because we would have been really good friends. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me as if I was normal, without cancer." This touched my heart because although he was faced with so many life-changing struggles, he was grateful for what he had and his life the way it was. I realized after talking to him how much I have to be thankful for. I can learn so much from the people who are not as blessed as me because they have some incredible and inspirational attitudes. Working in these hospitals this summer exposed me to people who are faced with depressing, unfortunate situations. I learned not to judge others based on their situation because you will never fully understand what they have been through. I need to appreciate everything I have, including my health and my family. I never truly understood how blessed I am until I worked with people who are struggling to survive. People in the worst situations are often appreciative for everything they have, even if it seems like nothing, and they are truly happy to be surrounded by friends. That sums up what I learned this summer in the hospitals about how different life circumstances affect who people are. James Frey once said, "Practice not wanting, desiring, judging, doing, everything will fall into place." Thank you.